You're watching me ride an electric unicycle in the middle of the Eastern European winter at -8 degrees Celsius for fun. So if you want to keep warm in the winter, I guess you clicked on the right video.
Hi, I'm Mr. Wrongway, and today I'm gonna tell you which clothes and what gear you need in order to keep warm while riding your EUC during the freezing winter. So, let me tell you more about it.
Now, if you really don't like the company of other people or just looking at people, going out at -8 degrees Celsius is just perfect. Not a single soul around, and you can check all of the beautiful surroundings. Woo!
Down to 10 or 5 degrees Celsius, you don't really need any specialized gear or any tips or tricks. Down to this temperature, you just get some winter gear, warm socks. But when the temperature drops to 0 degrees Celsius or even lower, well, this is why I made this video. It's not easy to keep warm as an electric unicycle rider because we have three things working against us. First of all, we don't produce that much heat when we are riding because we are not moving or exercising as much as if we were walking, skiing, or riding a bicycle. So there's not so much heat produced in the first place by our body. Second of all, we don't have a windshield. We don't have anything that protects any part of our body from the cold air that is around us. And thirdly, we usually go between 20 and 40 kilometers an hour. A lot of heat can escape when we're riding, and it's not that easy to seal all of the possible air entrances and exits in order to keep warm as a EUC rider. Now we will go from top to bottom, and I'll tell you all of my best tips in order how to keep warm when riding in the winter. In fact, I was riding yesterday at a temperature of -8 degrees Celsius, went for a ride for about 30 kilometers, and that was for fun, mind you.
It's so cold, I didn't see a single soul outside for the past 5 or 10 kilometers. And I'm still fine. I'm plenty warm. Maybe not for so long anymore, but I'm well.
And while getting back home after an hour or two, I was already getting a little bit of cold. This was by far the best experience I had when riding in such cold temperatures outside here in Polska. Polska.
My motherboard temperature is at -0.6. I guess it won't be overheating.
So while those tips will be helpful, well, there is no getting around it. It's just super cold outside. If you want to keep warm, then just take a mini wheel, open up the pedals, stay at home, and just ride those. Oh, and I also didn't include any heated riding gear, as this is not something I use. Maybe someday I'll test some of those out, but I feel like even just charging my intercom, I forget about that, so I don't want to have that many things to remember to charge. Right, this intro has been way too long. Let's start with my feet.
First up, you want to make sure that you have at least 2 or 3 layers of socks, or you just get some really, really warm socks.
But then as my prime choice for shoes, and I have been testing quite a bit of those in the past Polish winters and Canadian winters, the Columbia Booga Boot, just for the name alone, is a great choice. But more importantly than the awesome name, I just love saying it, the Booga Boot. Have a Booga Boot. Obviously I'm warm. Those shoes are very well insulated and also water resistant. So you can see that all of this front part, there's no air coming through there. I believe that's almost like rubber. They're super warm, they're tall, they're ginormous, and they're not that easy to walk in. But if you want to keep warm in the winter, I recommend this. When it comes to pants, well, there's actually nothing fancy here. I just wear some warmer leggings with fleece inside, but you can just get some pro thermoactive gear. But I do have some ski pants. You want to have them with this sort of strap on top. So with such a garment, no air will come underneath into your jacket and other layers. So you can be sure that when you're wearing this kind of pants, well, you won't get any air going in and out or through your body. One thing to look out for in these sort of ski clothes is what kind of membrane they have. And most importantly, you want to have something that won't let any air through. So naturally, you want to insulate yourself well, but you really want to protect yourself from the wind. So even slapping a rain jacket on top of your usual warm layer jacket might help you a lot with the cold in the winter. This is the most important thing in order to keep yourself warm on EUC during winter rides. Now you could also get some motorcycle gear, which is also designed for the winter. I've just found them to be a bit too heavy, too bulky. The upside of this motorcycle gear is that it's abrasion resistant. So if you fall once or twice, it will not break as easily as some sort of ski jacket. The second upside is that the protectors are already built in. So once you are done onionizing, then you just put the jacket on and you're done. No need to think about armor, and layering up takes a bit less time. However, once you're riding, those protectors, when they get cold, they stop being so elastic. And you know, for motorcycle riders, you're fine. But then for EUC riders, and obviously all EUC riders just ride like this, and you're not fine. So once I put this on, I will put my knee braces or knee pads on top of those pads. When it comes to the top layers and being warm in the winter in general, you want to remember those 3 words: improvise, onionize, overcome. The more layers you have, the warmer you'll be. So on my top layer, I usually have some sort of thermoactive shirt underneath my shirt. Then I put my t-shirt on, which says Diplom Klugscheißer. That might be interesting for you German-speaking fellas. And then I usually put a soft shell. So this is a, well, soft shell, that's the name of it. It's just a nice top that doesn't let any air through and keeps you warm, obviously. Sometimes I also put another layer underneath that, like a hoodie, just to have a bit more insulation, but usually this is enough. So this is not waterproof, but windproof, so like a wind stopper. On top of that, you have a couple of options. Option number 1 is you put armor on top of the soft shell, or if you prefer to do it the other way, you can put this underneath a soft shell, but then you have to buy this in a bigger size. And then on top of all of that, you get a ski jacket, like this one from 4F. I just put this one on top of the buzzer, and then I'm warm. Couple of things about the jacket. I usually take the armor into a store and then try the jacket on in order to make sure that it actually fits and it's comfortable for me to wear with the armor. Second of all, you want to have it a bit longer, so you know the wind just doesn't come right in from underneath. And I always love one of those. This is protecting me from anything coming from underneath and keeps me warm. I really like this jacket, and it has a 15,000 membrane. The biggest downside with wearing this as your outside layer is that if you fall, this thing will sadly get damaged. Alternatively, if you don't want to buy armor, you can also just take your lazy rolling jacket, put it on, and then get the jacket on top of the lazy rolling jacket. So here's same story, you go to the store, you take your lazy rolling, put a ski jacket on top of it, and then you should be good to go in very freezing temperatures. When it comes to gloves, I have been using Shima gear for a while already, all of the other winters, and these are gloves that always keep me warm in the winter. This is like a newer model, which is a bit more robust. I also had the earlier model, which fell apart after a while, but you know how I'm riding. These will just keep you warm, have a long sleeve here, or some protection, and also, very importantly, a wiper. This wiper will save your life if it's snowing or raining. You just swipe the snow or the rain away with one finger. This is really awesome. The touch sensitivity doesn't work so well. Maybe it's also because of my screen protector, but those gloves, they're awesome for the winter. They will keep you warm. You will also want to keep your neck warm with a buff or a scarf, and wear a balaclava on top of that, like this a bit colder one, or this very warm one from Saleva. Like this has some sort of fleece inside, and it's wind resistant, so this one is really warm. I also have a balaclava by Alpine Stars, which also has this huge sort of piece of material here, which will keep all of your chest area warm and insulated, but I lost it somewhere. Couldn't find it for the video. So Balaclava anyway will keep you warm in the winter. And when it comes to helmets, what is the best choice? Well, I already made a comparison with those two helmets when it comes to just their properties. But what I wanted to talk about is that with helmets, the most important thing isn't really that they're warm. They're warm anyways, and because of the balaclava. What is really important with helmets is that you can still see this temperature, because when you breathe out, the air is a lot warmer than the air outside. And then what happens is that the visor might fog up. So with this Aero and its pin lock, sadly, when it gets really, really cold, the pin lock also starts to fog up. It's not really bad, I can still see everything, but if you want to be really sure that you can always see in the winter, well, then you get a snowmobile helmet. I don't have a snowmobile helmet for myself just because it's not snowing that much and I typically just don't ride outside if the weather is super terrible. But if you're living somewhere in northern Canada, if you're living somewhere where it's really cold, a snowmobile helmet is awesome because they either come with a double layered visor, so it's not a pin lock, but actually 2 layers. HJC makes some of them, FXR, and then some of them also have a heated sort of element on top and bottom, so if it's snowing, the snow will actually melt. I'm not really sure if that's the merit of those heated elements, but maybe it's also just to keep the visor clean. A snowmobile helmet is really the best choice, but alternatively you get a pin lock, or alternatively you wear a enduro helmet with goggles. Because the problem is that for glasses wearers, if you're getting around with one of those, the pin lock might not fog up, but your glasses will. So if you want to prevent your glasses from fogging up, it's better to get just bigger goggles. And if you're not wearing glasses, then either way, it will be better to ride in goggles because they just don't fog up all that much as a pin lock possibly could do in this colder temperature. Or you just get a really good pin lock, I don't know. I tried to install this a couple times, but even with doing it a couple times, sometimes it still does fog up. So if you want your goggles to never fog up, you get some with a double layered shield. Liat makes one of those. I found that those Scott goggles with just 1 layer were enough for me. So with that said, I hope that you found this video useful. And if you're still here, leave a like on the video, subscribe to see more content like this. I'll see you in the next video. See you soon.